Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving into a story that has been buried for centuries. A story that reveals the untold lives, secrets, and triumphs of some of the most fascinating kings in history. These were rulers whose decisions shaped the world, yet whose personal stories remain hidden from most textbooks. Buckle up, because what you're about to hear will change the way you look at history forever. Imagine a world without modern technology, where power was measured not just in armies, but in wisdom, strategy, and the ability to inspire loyalty. In this world, kings were more than rulers. They were visionaries, innovators, and sometimes even prisoners of their own ambition. One such king was Ashoka of India. Known today for his embrace of peace and Buddhism, few know that Ashoka's early reign was marked by a struggle for power so intense that it changed the very course of his empire. After ascending the throne in his early 20s, he faced rebellion from his own brothers. The battles were brutal, but what stands out is his transformation. After a single catastrophic war, Ashoka turned to nonviolence and spent the rest of his reign promoting education, hospitals, and infrastructure. This shift was unprecedented in an era defined by conquest, and it reminds us that even the most powerful rulers can change their hearts and their world. Across the seas in Europe, there was Charlemagne, a king whose name echoes through the ages as a symbol of unity and ambition. Charlemagne inherited a fragmented kingdom, where loyalty was scarce and danger lurked at every corner. But what few know is how much of his success relied on intelligence and diplomacy, not just military might. He traveled constantly, learning from scholars, observing different cultures, and creating an early form of what we might call global networking. Charlemagne's empire was built on knowledge as much as it was on force. He understood that a ruler's greatest power lies in shaping ideas, culture, and education, and he used this insight to leave a legacy that lasted centuries. His story is a reminder that leadership is often about vision and foresight, not just dominance. Now, let's move to the mysterious courts of ancient Egypt, where Pharaoh Hatshepsut ruled with elegance and cunning. In a male-dominated society, she became one of the most successful pharaohs, yet her story was nearly erased by her successors. Hatshepsut's reign was marked by prosperity and peace, her trade expeditions bringing wealth from lands far beyond Egypt. But what makes her story truly remarkable is her political ingenuity. She presented herself as a male king in statues and inscriptions to legitimize her rule, while quietly exercising her own unique leadership style. Hatshepsut's life teaches us that sometimes success requires strategy, patience, and a deep understanding of perception. Traveling eastward, we find King Sejong the Great of Korea, a ruler whose legacy is alive every day for millions of people. Sejong was more than a king. He was a visionary linguist and inventor. During his reign, he created the Korean alphabet Hangul so that literacy was accessible to everyone, not just the elite. His motivation was deeply human. He wanted his people to communicate, learn, and thrive. Sejong's story is a powerful example of how leadership can be about empowerment, not oppression. It challenges the traditional image of kings as conquerors, and instead shows that true power often lies in generosity, intellect, and empathy. Across the Mediterranean, we meet Suleiman the Magnificent, the Ottoman Sultan whose empire became one of the most influential in history. Suleiman's rule is often remembered for its military conquests, but his greatest achievements were in law, architecture, and culture. He personally reviewed the legal system, ensuring justice was maintained throughout his diverse empire. Suleiman also fostered the arts, supporting poets, architects, and scholars. His story illustrates that a ruler's strength is not only in his sword, but also in his mind and heart. He understood that a kingdom endures through culture and fairness as much as through force. What is common among these rulers, though separated by continents and centuries, is their humanity, their struggles, fears, ambitions, and sometimes profound regrets. Even kings who seem larger than life faced dilemmas that are relatable even today. Consider the story of Emperor Marcus Aurelius, the Roman ruler known as a philosopher king. In the midst of wars and plagues, he wrote his thoughts in a journal, reflecting on mortality, duty, and ethics. Marcus Aurelius shows us that even in positions of unimaginable power, self-reflection and moral responsibility remain central to leadership. But history is also filled with hidden twists. Take the story of Queen Ranavalona I of Madagascar. Her reign is controversial. She defended her kingdom against colonial powers, but her methods were harsh. What often goes untold is the context of her decisions, a queen trying to protect her people and culture from foreign domination. History is rarely black and white, and untold stories like hers challenge us to see the complexities behind every decision, every action, and every empire. Another layer of intrigue is the personal relationships that shaped these rulers. King Louis Roman XIV of France, known as the Sun King, ruled with unmatched splendor, but his personal life was fraught with intrigue, betrayals, and lessons in power dynamics. He centralized the government in Versailles, creating a court that was as much a stage as a governing body. The delicate balance of alliances, friendships, and rivalries determined not only his success, but also the future of France. His life reminds us that leadership is not only about vision, but also about navigating the human drama surrounding you. Let's not forget the cultural impact these rulers had. Akbar the Great of the Mughal Empire didn't just expand territories. He created a system of governance that celebrated diversity, religious tolerance, and intellectual discourse. Akbar's courts were filled with debates among scholars of different faiths. His story is a testament to how rulers can shape societies through inclusion, respect, and dialogue, values that remain essential in today's world. These stories are not just about kings, they are about lessons for us. They remind us that leadership is multifaceted. It's about wisdom, courage, compassion, and resilience. It's about knowing when to act and when to step back. It's about understanding the people you lead and the legacy you leave behind. Even when empires fall, the stories of these kings endure. They are preserved in monuments, writings, and legends, but the personal stories often remain hidden. The struggles behind the throne, the doubts that kept them awake at night, and the small acts of kindness or courage are rarely documented, yet they define their legacy as much as their victories. Think about King Alfred the Great of England. Known for defending his kingdom against Viking invasions, his strategic genius was matched by his love for learning and culture. Alfred promoted education, translated important texts, and ensured that knowledge survived through turbulent times. His story reminds us that even in the darkest periods, the pursuit of knowledge and culture can shine as a guiding light. What about the hidden stories of rulers who were ahead of their time? Empress Dowager Cixi of China, for example, ruled effectively behind the scenes in a patriarchal system. Her reign, often criticized in traditional histories, was full of political savvy, strategic reforms, and careful navigation of a complex court. Understanding her story challenges the conventional narratives and allows us to see history through a more nuanced lens. History also shows that power comes with personal sacrifices. Emperor Akihito of Japan, though a modern figure, carries the weight of centuries of tradition. His abdication was historic, reflecting not only personal choice but also a deep understanding of duty, respect for tradition, and concern for the well-being of the nation. These subtle decisions, away from the battlefield or political spotlight, reveal the humanity behind the crown. And then there are the mysteries. The story of Tutankhamun, the young pharaoh of Egypt, captivates the world not just because of his tomb, but because of the many unanswered questions surrounding his life. How did he rise to power so young? What challenges did he face behind the grandeur of the palace walls? These mysteries continue to fascinate and remind us that history is a living story, waiting to be explored, questioned, and reimagined. What connects all these stories is the way they show us that history is never just about dates, battles, or laws. It's about people, leaders who were human, ambitious, and often flawed, yet capable of greatness. It's about the moments when courage met opportunity, when strategy overcame chaos, and when empathy shaped the destiny of millions. So, what can we learn from these untold stories? Leadership is about more than authority. It's about vision, wisdom, and the courage to make difficult choices. Legacy is not just about power or wealth. It's about the impact you leave on the people and the world around you. And history is not static. It's full of hidden layers waiting for curious minds to uncover the truth. As we explore the lives of these ancient kings and rulers, it's clear that their stories still resonate today. They teach us about resilience, strategy, empathy, and the complexity of human nature. They show that behind every throne, every empire, and every grand achievement, there are untold stories of struggle, ingenuity, and transformation. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the hidden lives of history's greatest rulers. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because there are countless more secrets, mysteries, and untold stories waiting to be discovered. Every king, every empire, and every legend has a lesson for us, and we're just beginning to scratch the surface. Stay curious, stay inspired, and we'll see you in the next video on Dynastrix. History is not just about the past. It's a mirror to understand ourselves and the world we live in today. Keep exploring, and remember, every untold story has the power to change the way we see the world.